Peace, 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 peace. Oh man. My other videos that I posted, peace to all, greetings to all. My earlier videos that I posted would have been a lot longer. But you know those who have certain cellular devices, if it's an iPhone, the shit will pop up and say your storage is full for so long just to have you buy into something. You're not getting a card. And for those who don't know, I'm gonna give you a little tip. Go to Target and type in free music and free storage or whatever. There you go. Share. But again, a lot of what I'm learning, oh my gosh. If people, let me tell you something. This ascension journey, healing journey, conscious journey, whatever you want to title it. Let me tell y'all something. This shit is not for the faint of heart, y'all. I just expressed to, you know, for once I can say this in my life is that I'm really learning to see the beauty within myself. It's very challenging for a man, and this is why I share a lot of this so our women can have this knowledge of so much of what we are covering up in a sense to like, I know the wind is going to be in the video, in a sense of like so many childhood woundings or so many behaviors that have been purged or are purging but have been so suppressed. I'll give you an analogy. It's like imagine like being planted as a seed and people coming and walking, stepping on that seed, like every chance they get, knowingly and unknowingly. And that same seed is a tree that will someday grow. Now just imagine, I'll use this also as an analogy. They pour concrete over that seed. And it's like that analogy people use, like, which I know now is that some of us are trying and fighting to be that rose that grows from the concrete. Some of us may never get there. Some of us are some people, and I would tell this to a lot of women, stay away from men that don't want to acknowledge. Stay away from anyone that refuse to take accountability, y'all. Let me tell you something, because it can become so emotionally draining for anyone that doesn't want to see their role in what they do. That being said, and I express these things so we can now find middle ground, awareness, or solution to what it is we are experiencing before we call it crazy or before we call it, I used this the other day. It's like the world has been so affected by, and this is, and I use this for men, just myself. It's like it to even have the fucking courage, man. I'm telling y'all, mentally, a lot of us have been slapped so much, or just imagine someone writing down like idiot, stupid, so many derogatory things on like a sticky note, and the people that they love come along and just tack it on, and we as people accept it, like unknowingly and knowingly, or unconsciously and consciously, just since a child. And that being said, we walk around and then people are looking like, yo, you see that on them? And we just ignore it, like, because we have allowed, and I was expressing to someone, it's like, allow these things we're not even aware of that we cover up with, or wondering why, we're so more concerned about how the world viewed us rather than seeing how beautiful we all and have always been inside. So again, the accountability of acknowledging our own shortcomings or acknowledging where we have not only ignored our true guidance or some, I don't like to use the term wrong, but where we need to hold a space to where we forgive ourselves and the fucked up shit that we have done. Because a lot of stuff we don't know, and then it takes a real man or husband or person that really sees what they've done and somehow, some way, find a place, those who do have a heart, that compassion to actually, you know, whether it's meant for you to seek out that person or if it's on your heart to share what it is and how you been affected by, because all of us have been in this position. But I really want to share with the women is that a lot of men don't feel safe within themselves. And I know a lot of women don't feel safe in their own skin. And so even the ideology for us to even provide, and it's not all, but even to provide a safe place or a secure place for women at times is almost impossible. Well, it's not even possible. It's not to say that it's not obtainable, but it's the whole misconception going back to the distorted way we've all been affected to even try to be something for you. And that's the thing that most we don't want to acknowledge. I can acknowledge it. How can I be anything for you that I haven't first given to myself? And see, we don't even see the fucking fucked up in mental health and all of this. It's like, how are y'all expecting a man to be all of these things when we haven't first even acknowledged these things within ourselves? It's still stuff I'm learning within myself. Again, like even having to acknowledge that I had a sex addiction. A lot of men can be, addiction to porn, emotional eating, trying to find ways to cope with, trying to numb what it is that I don't know how to express or I'm afraid to express to you. That is of a woman. And mental health, mental illness can look something like what I witnessed, and it's so fucked up that like it's like now we're learning to take back our mind and our awareness in this. It's like do this or else, or even how we, the antagonizing or the emotional dysfunctional homes we grew up in to where everything is okay. I can treat you this way. I can do this because I'm your mother and or father. Or then some people have those connections where let me give you, I'm going to treat you this way. And just because we don't know anything else, a healthy way of being, a healthy love, we will simply go and knowingly, men especially, because due to the fact of our upbringings, we know we don't want to commit. And that goes back to even because of either we learned through the men that we saw or those men had to learn through someone else. And we saw our mothers dog men out. And I also saw men dog women out. But I can say for myself, deep down inside of me, I tried and or trying was knowing that a part of me didn't want to be treated or devalue myself at a lower place to where I know my value is much more than being manipulated in a way to where I have to receive gifts or emotionally manipulated to accepting the bare minimum or settling due to the fact of someone doesn't know their value, and being criticized and ostracized, or you know, devalued just because I do not want to attest or accept, you know, the dysfunctionality of, you know, if I'm telling you this hurts, or this isn't right, or, and then we've been going along with that narrative, you know. This is why a lot of stuff, like, I always encourage our women and men, but most importantly for our women, to take back your power, to call back your power. I couldn't even be mad at it, and honestly, I couldn't even be mad at anyone, let alone to even deal with my own shit, because I got to deal with my own shit. Because, you know, a lot of people ain't gonna realize, like, you've been running from your own shit. You've been doing shit so long that you don't even smell your own shit. Then, let alone when someone, especially a woman that knows herself, addresses the bullshit that you do, simply because she has done the inner work, and we could have an issue with that. Stay away from these people and men. Because guess what? They can have all the money and material shit in the world, but they're not even emotionally in tune. There's a disconnect with the divine right there. Because any man, any woman who really knows themselves is first going to acknowledge their own shit. Because that's what really empowers them. And those that are aware of this feminine principle realizes that the power and the foundation of all is the matriarchal. So therefore, it's more so how that has also empowered, you know, empowered us in a way to the distortion from the matriarchal to the patriarchal, but also now knowingly that men know exactly what they're doing. And for the women too. Some people, you know, especially if you're an empath, some people, they know exactly what they're doing. So once you start calling them out and acknowledging, like, oh no, this no. See, then that's when they can no longer hide from themselves, and now are forced to see themselves, and no longer can use you as a crutch. And see, again, the reason I'm sharing this with you is that a lot of us, our women haven't felt safe, our men haven't felt safe. So we all are product of this, you know, this dysfunctional way of living, this distorted way, until someone calls it out. And then as soon as we call it out, oh, he's mentally unstable. This person's crazy. Oh, you know, they're not aware. Like, what? And that's simply because that person is simply, or people are, have been in something so fucking long to where they're going to react rather than a healthy response. Of course, there's an expectancy there that there's going to be an unhealthy reaction. And no one likes to be called out on their shit. No one likes their illusion exposed. Who does? Even myself, I had to learn to be called out on my own shit, and then others come along, I'm like, oh wow, I thought that was healed. Or I healed this, and oh, going back to even the commitment thing. You know, when there's a love for self so much that's endless, there is no hiding. What do I have to hide? There is nothing to be secretive of anymore. There is nothing to hide from the world. Pay attention to those people who, you know, that saying goes, you know, oh, they wear their heart on their sleeves. I can tell myself this, is that now I know the healthy boundaries to where I don't even have to feel like there is something that I need to. I feel like love protects me in a way. Standing in that divine truth, that's what cloaks me and protects me. Now, anything other than that, I realize that it will be exposed right away. I'm able to recognize things right away. See, this is what, again, our mothers and women and daughters need is that awareness to hold not only myself accountable, but if I love someone, I can say, hey, you know what? This is kind of be detrimental, you know, or, and see, that's what we're fucking afraid of. It's like, we don't want to acknowledge the fact of like, that right there is kind of, you know, controlling or narcissistic in a way, and so it's fucked up. Because we don't want to be held accountable because we've been going along, prancing around so long, like, oh, this is cool. And it's not. And it's not. And people can't hide from it anymore. The veil has been lifted. And so this is the awareness, because the truth of the matter is, who has really been safe in the so-called land of the free? Where has the safety been? Where's the safety net? Because for one, how could a system that has, again, we know that has preyed on the wounding of not only our women, but that wounding has also allowed them to prey on the men. Therefore, the men have, in retaliation, preyed on the women. Jealousy, envious, you know, wanting to obtain these things, and it happens both ways. To what? Have a sense of power, which really is a reflection of weakness. Because if you know who you are, why would you be in competition with someone that, again, was sent here or was here to be a co-creator with you, a partner with you? So a lot of shit, man, I realized that was so fucked up, unprogramming and learning who I am as a divine masculine, or to even learn my divine right was to learn what was not of that divine. What was the distorted way of the father and mother, to actually speak this divine truth. How, no matter how uncomfortable this shit is, no matter how much emotions are involved, you got to realize we've been hoarding so much emotions in a distorted way, in an unhealthy way, so it comes out, you know, where am I really, you know, in the past, am I really trying to keep you from being who you are? Or it can be offensive to someone if I'm speaking like, you know, it can be very triggering for someone who hasn't and don't know what it is to walk in their truth, or to be honest with themselves, because they're hiding in the shadows. They're in their wounding, they're hiding in their wounding, you know, to use that as a covering until you're like, oh, you know, that entity or that spirit is revealed of, like, you know, so many other things. So of course that's something that who wants that to be revealed? So a lot of that is that you're seeing now surfacing. People cannot hide from themselves anymore. They are forced to fucking see themselves now. They are forced to acknowledge their own woundings, because then that's when, oh, you're not going to project. Oh, it'll sound like projecting when someone is actually being honest and activating or triggering you. This is when all these emotions comes out, stuff that has been hoarded, a feeling of not being heard or accepted or embraced. Because again, the world around you hasn't embraced you, depending on who you are. Our mothers and them didn't know safety. You're talking about elders and, you know, people that have been, you listen to their stories. Where the fuck has the safety and security been? So imagine these women and men who've been walking out here so wounded, and a society in a world who preys on their wounding, who parades and, you know, mask themselves as if they care, but yet they prey on your fucking wounding. Get close to you just so they can use that just to simply stab you in the back. And so, where in these places have you felt safe? Because that's what people are seeking and looking for. Is this not about you as mothers and women, like, needing to just be in a place where there's peace, not only for you but for your kids and children. Do you feel that within yourself? Because the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter how much money that man has or how much whatever it is he has materialistically. What good is the security of a home if there is no spiritual security within self? Where your gifts, your intuition, your logic or your practicality kicks in, and these things that again is within you. The alignment of your chakras, the acknowledgement of, that man being connected to spirit. Or him knowing the importance of partnership. Or that of marriage or union. With not only himself, but with you. We've all have ignored the signs. Whether you want to call it red flags. Shit, I've had to wave the white flag with myself and other people. That means surrendering to myself and learning like, yo, hold on. How did I get to this place? Why am I where I'm at? Who's the reason why I'm not progressing? Why am I afraid? Oh, I see why, because eventually you'll realize that these things catch up with you. These emotions in your tissue, these emotions, these memories, along with a lot of things that can no longer be hidden. So who is accountable for facing that? And can I know within myself holistically, seeing myself as whole, to actually to have someone alongside me that can actually see the beauty in within themselves and see the growth that we both can contribute to what we're co-creating or creating in this world while we're here. Not a sense of feeling like I gotta possess them, monitor them, because that's what this is about. A lot of us, we've been monitored so fucking much. What's the real security? We're looking externally for people for the security, but are we really secure within ourselves? And see, this is how so much of, like, again, men we've all been affected by this. Ignoring these parts of ourselves and now faced with it at different ages now. If we don't acknowledge it and fix it and actually take back our own power, call back our own power, and what are we really doing for the future of the generation? What are we really doing here? Why are we still trying? You're seeing the matrix or the old way collapsing right before you, and in denial of that. You only need very few people. And a lot of which, again, being secure within, it, again, you talk about a society, again, like, yo, I can acknowledge, I can attest to it. I only saw womanizers growing up. So some way, somehow, that shit has to end with me. That's a generational chain and curse. And the only reason why they did that is a lot of which is connected to what they learned in their childhood and in their homes. Thinking it was fucking cool to have all these women in another lifetime. Like, what? Not even seeing the importance of semen retention. Seeing the importance of, valuing your temple or valuing who you are. Learning what it really is to be a high value man or woman. This has already been our birthright. This has already been who we are. We've always been valuable. It's just what we've learned as men and women. It's what we learn as men. You look at the fucking music. You're talking about a lot of stuff. And why do we sit here and need to ignore it as men and women? To keep saying like, oh, this hasn't affected us. It has. And you know it. Until it runs its course. You only need a very few people to really decide like, okay. And I know a lot of women are at this place. A lot of people, it's different for everyone. Where you want to just pick up and leave, where you want to just say, forget it all, walk away. A lot of us are at this place because a lot of us are going to see now how much not only we need ourselves, but we need each other. A lot of men are afraid to say, like, oh, yeah, you know what? I actually do need partnership, marriage, or union. But there's an underlining to it, you know, and a lot of us are trying to work and live through that pain we experienced in the past. It's not that we cannot undo it. I heard an elder say, it said, the axe forgets everything, but the tree remembers. So a part of me does remember, you know, you have memories, but then again, it's like a part of it's forgiving, accepting, and moving forward, progressing forward. So there's no more room for playing the fuck around. I'm telling this to my women. There's no more room to fucking play around. And anyone that been around me, you know, they can say many things, but I had to acknowledge, you know, my own path and realize like a lot of this programming and learned behavior, distorted way of what a man should be and how it should be was the fucking, no, it was nothing right. It was nothing cool about it. The violent tendencies, um, the degrading women in any kind of way. The hurting them purposely, whether you know it unconsciously, then it creeps back up. Because it's about clearing that karma because that's energy. And then now moving forward, now how could I use that now as what I'm doing to bring more awareness into our destructive, self-destructive behavior, self-inflicted wounds? Because that's all what men really are doing that really don't know what really leadership is that, you know, you are followers, but a leader is going to lead you to yourself in the sense of like, do you know who you are? Learning who you are. Having knowledge of your past, your ancestors. Having knowledge of what our women have also went through. Because the foundations of everything, again, no woman, a nation can rise no higher than its woman. And we're seeing it fall because of how much they have tried to crucify our women, devalue our women, women in general. Because of what? Natural way of co-creating, you know, and bringing life into this world is through a womb. This is not to be argued and discussed, you know, or debate. That's just what it is. So again, everyone here can be loved and be loved, but the bullshit of trying to attack women in any way for them not being who they are, that's bullshit. Because that's just, they are who they are. And me personally, it's like, if any way, in the reality that I'm creating, if you can't live amongst each other in fucking peace, I was telling someone this, I'm like, yo, what's the matter with humanity? Y'all have lived amongst each other so long that you can't even fucking get along with each other. Now is a time to where my healing is so vital that I really want to, and it's going to be uncomfortable. Y'all got to realize you're going to have the fucking most uncomfortable conversations because when you're meeting people, we all haven't felt safe, insecure within ourselves. We all haven't been affected by this. So now it's a moment to where you have to address the elephant in the room. You have to have those uncomfortable conversations. When you are meeting someone, whatever karma comes with them that they're clearing, even when you co-create with someone, a part of you are clearing not only your individual karma, but you're breaking generational curses from your family, from how, through the wombs that have, you know, how we all have passed through the wombs of our mothers spiritually. All these things that have been accumulated through the tissues of our mothers. Not to mention, I was reading an article on how the mother can hold the memory of her child because they work hand in hand. Like, it amazes me how the baby is using stem cells and, you know, if something happening within the womb of the mother, how that tissue from the stem cell is help healing the mother. So I was reading an article and it was talking about how the mother, like the womb of that child, I mean the cells of that child could live all the way up to, did it say 18 years? But I know it was a few years. You can research this. It was years that even after, let's say, in much love and support and much sending healing to the wombs of the mothers that are that have experienced a stillbirth, because you still are a mother too, and the mothers that have experienced you know, uncomfortable pregnancy or a pregnancy that has, that wasn't the best, but even having to experience that, again, sending much love to your womb space, to you, to your heart, to who you are as a being, because again, a lot of things as a man or just being, in this vessel, is a lot of things I may not comprehend at that moment, or I may not ever know what it is to the depths, emotionally, or what it is, the power to bring forth a life. I just can say that coming from a woman and going back to that article is like how those cells exchange between the mother and child. There's still a sense there with that mother and child that never leaves the mother until like years later. So whether a woman has went through, even some that may not agree with abortion, you never know how that woman feels after that. So much love to y'all too, because sometimes people can we and I can't say me, but it's just having a compassion for people who were pressured into that shit. Women that were that it could have been an emotional impulse. It could have been a lot of peer pressure. It could have been a lot of things that, in her mind, and in that mother's mind, she's still trying to make sense of. She's still trying to grasp, accept what could have been. And so, again, you know, those cells that are exchanged within that mother and child, um, that mother still has a sense of that child genetically, spiritually, she's carrying. And so let's say like something goes on with that child, whatever age that may be, because you can research, I know it's like a couple of years after, but it's like that intuition, that feeling like, hey mom, your mom called, or that gut feeling. That gut feeling is that intuition and also that spiritual connection. So, and I'm saying this because like I'm fucking here to reverse all and break all those motherfucking generational curses, hexes, spells, all things dealing with the distorted fucking mother and dispelling that shit, and the father, to bring forth this blueprint of peace, love, and harmony in abundance, and being able to, we as mothers and fathers, men, women, children of the sun, humanity, we can live in peace amongst each other. So that is possible. But that peace and that harmony and that clarity and all those things, again, due to the distorted way of codependently and, desperately trying to live out our own happiness and birthright of being joyful, abundant, and prosperous through others, has affected everyone. And now we are reclaiming that, our mind, our peace, our dignity, our vitality, our everything, so that we can now stand in that, walk in that. Because ask yourself, what part of you, as women and men, like, wow, that's your birthright to be that. So of course there's gonna be and who gives a fuck, but hate or whatever it is, or backlash on that, because what a part of them, what's attached to them, that's in the darkness, that doesn't want that to be brought to light. So again, our women, don't ignore who you truly are, because I know a lot of you are going into a dark place, let alone coming out of a dark place. And for me being where I am, I was too in that dark place. And I'm just going to do my best to encourage you all through this. Because it's a lot of stuff that may not make sense to me, but I do know people are purging shit. And you're talking about a purging from a place in the so-called land of the free, where I read something about my ancestors, how you're talking about spiritually, not only in your DNA, but every place, like these cities, these major cities and places, environments, whether it be the woods, I don't give a fuck where you are. At one point in time, there was a people that lived on these places. There was something that happened before you. There was blood shed on that land. There's pain in those roots of those trees. There's blood seeping through those places. There's so much shit that is purging out of us that we naturally, as we connect to the land, Gaia, Sophia, just connect. We're reconnecting with our ancient mothers. We're reconnecting with our ancient DNA, the ancient wisdom. And a lot of this has been dormant and been kept away from us. But the thing about it, it was never away. It was always within. So this is why you're seeing, I encourage our mothers, fuck what these people got to say. Continue your righteous teachings, your practices, healing yourself, honoring who you are, whether that be on your celibacy journey, whether that be walking away and honoring what your ancestors of the highest good is acknowledging you to do for the greater good of all to do. It's your birthright to walk in there. It's your birthright as a woman and a mother, you know, as a being, to be who you are here to be without conviction of, you know, people trying to criticize you and say you should be this. The whole, I'm telling you now, the whole way of what they said a woman should be was a fucking, I say, was a big ass lie, bullshit, and they can wipe their ass with it, eat it, I wouldn't care. Because a lot of us are now, why wouldn't I see, how wouldn't I know to be and rise in the divinity and truth that I am if I don't see the fucked up shit that has been happening? This shit can no longer be hidden, people. A lot of people ain't ready to be in the presence of a lot of people. They ready to take that, remove and do that. No, man. It don't supposed to make sense to people that don't know this journey, this holistic journey, because we're being risen up right now, because most of our lives, some of us know that, oh, don't say that. You know, being taught to not honor our emotions as women. You know, speaking to an elder, you know, and a lot of the, even the control aspect of what religion was, is that they use something externally to try to replace your physical father. And so they give you something externally to try to, you know, use this concept of replace that aspect that will never be fulfilled. Because if you keep saying you don't need a man, but your imagination is like, yeah, this man is somewhere, but yet within you there also is an energy or something that has given you this ideology of, okay, maybe this person or these people are here for me, something to learn, but also see the grander scheme or the bigger picture of why is it, what it is I'm here to learn. Who taught me that I don't need a man? Who even gave me religion? Who even gave me other things, ideologies or belief for me to even challenge or go against my own divine rights to even be a spiritual being having this human experience, or just simply be me? Now, what could I learn about that? What about me is fighting that or not acknowledging that? What am I afraid of? Or in a sense, Ask yourself, what do you fear the most, and what is that rooted in? What is that fear rooted in? Like, truthfully, I can see most of the women in my family. I'm like, I love them. I have a place of compassion, and other women, because I'm sitting here like, hold on, pause. You know how to be a woman, but do you know what it is to really be a woman? I can even say this about myself. I knew from a worldly perspective, or from the opinions of others, doing to all the shit that was in my face, and like even so much confusion that can drive a man insane. Some people right now could see this orange and automatically, psychologically can say it. You know, to some men that will watch this, that's a triggering for them, because whether they've experienced some type of incarceration, and women too, rather than someone seeing this as an activation, like, oh, a kid, oh, this is fire, oh, that's orange, that's vibrant, or it reminds them of a certain chakra. This is the shit that we don't realize, that unconsciously, how everyone is different, how everyone has been affected by something. Even the simple thing to where, again, for me to even stand in this truth fearlessly, to acknowledge and to point out these things and say, no, I'm not a fucking prisoner. Does that mean I'm judging people? No, I'm not a prisoner to others people's ideology of what a man is, or their beliefs, or what I should be doing, how I should be doing it. Because immediately I know there's a disconnect there. There's a disconnect there. Because what is it? If you ask 5 people right now, different backgrounds, different cultures, whatever it is, what is it a man should be? And depending on their upbringing, their religion, whatever it is, you will hear 5 different storylines. So I'm going to depart with that. So again, know who you are. It's okay. None of us, this is why a lot of us are being risen up and a lot of people are being set down. Because I've been telling our women, like, you have been in this place so long that you don't even be able to smell the imbalance. And it's not your fault. Let me say that you're not a disappointment. It's just the fact of, it's certain people that have to be awakened or come into this knowingness to bring forth a new way. Whether you like it or accept it or not has nothing to do with me. It's so more of whatever triggers you, it's not for you. Let it fly. But those that will get activated through this, or bring more awareness to who you are and what you're here to be, so be it. So again, who really has felt? The thing about it, that's the illusion, is that the illusion of control has placed people in this illusion of security. This comfortability in false security of so much of gaining so much material possessions, disregarding the aspect of nature, the disconnect to neteru, or nature, the connection to self, which everything is always constantly evolving. Things are changing, things are shifting. Whether people want to accept it or not, they go out with that as other things usher in. That's the cycle of life. So what no longer can be hidden is that you cannot hide from yourself. No one can. So the beauty again of all of this shit is like, everyone I had to see the false perception of myself. Solar Ra said this. She was like, when you look at the word ID and entity, It was like those entity attachments of the false identity that we were living in the world. Mm. Those entities that prey on your weaknesses or your wounding so that you don't rise and acknowledge them, because guess what? It's like a flashlight coming to see those spirits, or you know, those devils or certain things, like, oh, I see you, and they flee because they stay right there in your darkness because they don't want you to see them there. So again, recognize these people. You'll be able to actually see. Once you start seeing and clearing your auric field and acknowledging certain things, you won't be surprised to be able to see certain things and become more aware and be more attentive as your spiritual gifts heighten. Spiritual nudges and so forth. So again, it's just as much as a responsibility to yourself as you come into this and more aware of this. So peace and blessings to all. Peace and love, harmony, abundance, and clarity. Whew. I love you. Peace. Shalom.